Imagine this, you open an app, tap on login, and it just keeps loading. Sometimes it even stops working. Now, here's the interesting part, when only a few people use that app, everything works perfectly. But the moment thousands of users start using it at the same time, that's when things start to break. So, what's actually happening behind the scenes? And why does a system that works perfectly suddenly fail under load? So in this video, I will explain this in a simple way and show you how real engineers solve this in production systems. First of all, let's clarify something. When I say 10 users or 1000 users, it does not mean users are only logged in, okay? It means users are doing actions like opening dashboards, clicking buttons, searching data, and sending requests. And every action sends a request to your backend, okay? So in reality, 10 users means a small number of requests, and 1000 users means thousands of requests hitting your server at the same time. Okay. Now look at this diagram. At the top, only 10 users are sending requests, right? The server handles all requests easily. So everything works fine. And if you see at the bottom, 1000 users are sending requests at the same time, and all requests go to the same server. Now the server cannot handle everything here. It becomes overloaded and crashes. So the real problem is not just users, it's the number of requests hitting your system at the same time. Now before we talk about scaling, you need to understand how a single request flow through your system. First, a user clicks something, maybe login or maybe buy now. That action sends a request. Then that request hits your backend, where your business logic actually runs. Now here's the catch. Maybe most of the time your server does not have the data it needs. So what happens next? It makes a call to the database to fetch that data. The database processes the query and sends the result back to the server. And then the server takes the data, builds the response, and send it back to the user. So this flow is simple here when only a few requests are happening. But now imagine the same process happening thousands of times at the same moment. Now ask yourself, can a single server handle all of that? Can one database respond that fast? And to get that data, user backend depends on the database. Okay. Now think about this. If 1000 users send requests at the same time, the server may generate 1000 database queries, right? But database have limits. They cannot handle unlimited queries instantly. They have connection limits, they have processing limits, and so on. So what happens? Requests start waiting, a queue begins to build, or a response time may increase. From the user's perspective, the app feels slow and pages keep loading, or sometimes it stops responding. And if this continues, the system can even crash. So this situation is called a bottleneck. And a bottleneck is a simple the part of the system that slows everything down. And in this case, the bottleneck is the database, because without the database, nothing in the application can function. So what happens next? Let's understand how engineers solve this problem in real systems. The first solution is caching here. Ask yourself, do we really need to fetch the same data from the database every single time? Most of the time the answer is no, because instead that we store frequently used data in memory, and this is what we call a cache. Now the flow changes here. User to cache to database, and it is only if needed. Why I'm saying only if needed? What it means, we will understand that. Okay. When a request comes in, we first check the cache. Okay. If the data is already there, we return it instantly. There will be no database call. If the data is already there, we return it instantly. But if the data is not in the cache, then we go to the database, fetch the data, store it in the cache for next time, and send the response back to the user. And with this, the result will be fewer database calls, less load on the database, and much faster responses. That's why your apps feel fast and smooth every time. Now we have understood that caching helps a lot, right? It reduces the load on the database and makes responses faster. But here's the thing is, it does not solve everything. It as traffic keeps increasing, at some point one server just can't handle all the requests. Okay. So now the problem is not just the database anymore. It's the server itself. Now let's understand this, okay? Just look at this system. On the left, we have many users sending requests at the same time. This could be people like logging in or scrolling or clicking or searching. It could be anything. So basically, a lot of traffic hitting your system. Now, instead of sending all those requests to a single server, we introduce something in between this, and this is called a load balancer. Okay, this is like it like a think of it like a traffic controller. It does not process request itself, it just decide where each request should go. Okay, so when request comes in, the load balancer distributes them across multiple servers, not randomly but in a balanced way. Now instead of one server handling everything, we now have multiple servers, okay, and each handling a portion of the traffic. For example, if we see if 1,000 users hit the system, okay, at a time, some requests go to server 1 and some go to server 2 and others go to server 3 and so on. So instead of one server getting overloaded, the load is evenly distributed and all these servers still talk to the same database. But the difference is the load reaching the database is more controlled, okay, and the result will be no single server gets overwhelmed, or traffic is evenly distributed, and the system becomes more stable and performance also improves. And this is how exactly real world systems scale. Now there's another hidden problem in our system is blocking operations inside the backend. Not every task needs to happen instantly, okay, some operations are slow by nature, like sending an email after sign up, uploading a profile picture, or generating a report in the background, and so on. These things take time, okay. Now imagine this, if your server waits for all these tasks to finish, the user has to wait, right? And your app starts feeling slow here. So what do we do as engineers? We don't make the user to wait. Instead, we move heavy work to the background. This is typically done using queues like RabbitMQ or Kafka. Now let's understand how this actually works. A user sends a request, okay? It reaches the backend server. Then the server does only the quick work, just enough to handle the request, and immediately sends a response back to the user. So, from the user perspective, everything feels fast and smooth. But what about the heavy tasks? Things like sending emails or processing images. Instead of doing them right away, the server pushes them into a task queue. Okay, think of this queue like a waiting line. Okay, and the tasks are stored here in order. Now, in the background, we have workers. These workers continuously pick tasks from the queue and process them one by one. So this entire part happens synchronously, completely separate from the user request. So what's the result if we use this process? The result gets fast responses and heavy tasks still get completed. The system stays smooth and scalable. And this is called asynchronous processing, where user experience stays fast and heavy work happens in the background. Finally, this is what a real world architecture looks like. A request comes in, it first hits the load balancer, which distributes traffic across multiple servers. Each server handles the request and uses cache for fast responses. Each server handles the request and only hits the database when needed. In the background, heavy tasks are moved to a queue and processed by workers, and the database scaled with replicas to handle high traffic. So now no single server is overloaded, responses are fast, and the system can handle massive traffic. This is how modern background systems are built to scale. I hope now you understand how real systems scale. In the next video, we'll actually build this project step by step and see how it behaves under real load. So don't miss it. See you in the next one.